Some things take time. Tonight's author, famously a merry prankster, the co-author of 2 earlier books, and a contributor to others still, is the last member of his late 1950s Stanford writing class to finish a novel. That class, led by Wallace Stegner, included Ken Kesey, Larry McMurtry, and Robert Stone. The wait, as we shall see, has been worth it. In the words of Ed McClanahan, another Stanford writer of the time, at last, after almost 50 years in the hopper, the most famous unpublished novel in America is in print, Who Shot the Water Buffalo? Who Shot the Water Buffalo is a splendid story of comradeship in a time and place of constant peril. But it's Babbs' irrepressible exuberance and vast, affectionate good humor that make the story go. Set in the recent past, Who Shot the Water Buffalo tells the story of 2 friends who become chopper pilots in Vietnam. Though it's really about the craziness of war, and Vietnam might as well be Afghanistan or Iraq. Some things take time, and though they may be slow in arriving, they arrive at just the right moment. Please welcome Ken Babbs.
Thank you, Thomas. That was wonderful. So glad to hear that. So glad to see you all coming out here tonight inside on such a beautiful day. I really appreciate it. So what we'll do tonight is I'll do my reading, and then we'll have a slideshow, and then a question and answer period, and then I'll sign books. So we'll have a good, friendly time here. Now I want you all to sit back and relax and let the time machine take you back to 1962, South Vietnam, at the Sac Trang airfield, where the Marine helicopter squadron is based. Shit, fire, Doc. You ain't doing me any more good than a rattler running fangs up and down my shoulder blade. Rat-tat-tatting machine gun, banging chopper blades, thumping and flashing lights going off like a pinball machine. Whose fault is it, Doc? I know. The San Andreas fault. Teutonic plate shifting. Something like that. Oh, no. Wrong continent. But anyway you cut it, it's a mess. Been that way for centuries. Lowland tribes fighting mountain tribes, then it's French Indochina till the Japanese take over. Here come the frogs again. Hippity-hop, hippity-hop. They get in deep. Knee-deep, knee-deep, knee-deep. Not on our patch, says Ho Chi Minh. He's a dirty commie, Doc. A member in good standing of the Red Horde and a sneaky bastard, too. The belligerent Ho. Marines are gung-ho. Does that mean we're related? No. What do you get when you combine a penis and a potato, Doc? That's right, a dictator. And that's Ho, Doc. He forces the frogs into making a stand, winner take all, and even with help from the US of A, the French surrender. Vietnam gets partitioned, the Reds in the north, the Republic in the south. Ho is rattling his saber. The democratic regime in the south is shaky, Doc. There's a buildup going on. New meat fed into the hopper. More pilots to fly the chopper. The pilots of Marine Medium Helicopter 188 are firing up the choppers. We're going deep into Indian country. See what VC we can flush out. The dreaded VC. They pop out of canals, disappear, then play hide-y-seeky with the Armans chasing them down like angry housewives. Stomp, 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 gonna kill those fucking cockroaches. Too late, they're gone. Escape between the baseboard and the wall, the paddy and the dike. The Hawks are eager. The Red Horde is not just South Vietnam's enemy, but our enemy too. And their advance must be halted, and the only way to do that is blast them back into the hovels from which they sprung. Keep it in tight, going hot, heads up all the way, backs pressed into the seats, shoulder straps snug, guns blasting on full auto. I'm flying co-pilot with Cochran. Greek-Irish, son of an Ohio gangster, he's burly big. 6'2", gorilla hair, bushy eyebrows, and Paige too late from having an entrance into the big scene, but there he is, with his champion choppers and a glowering stare that pins you to your chair. Me? I'm Tom Tomas Huckleby, 5'9", wiry, naughty, a Texican. Grew up on a border ranch and was shipped off to military school, but that makes no difference now. We're all in this shit together. Tooling across the rice paddies, the water shimmering in the early morning sun. Our bellies are loaded with ARVN's South Vietnamese troops, and we pour on the turns and head into the zone with the radio blaring. Hot shit. It's Hanoi Hannah. Her voice is prim and meticulous. Just as the gruesome Japanese emperor worshippers of World War II had to drink cup after cup of hot sake for their ancestors' sakes before launching kamikaze flights, the barbaric American Marines leaving Soc Trang Airfield this morning gorged on human livers ripped from valiant Vietnamese women and children in order to work themselves into a killing frenzy and ensnare our freedom-loving people into their materialistic slavery. The nerve, Cochrane interrupts. To think of such a thing, having to ensnare anyone into materialistic slavery. It is still not too late, Marines, to come to the aid of the Vietnamese freedom fighters and defend our people and country from the atrocities performed by the Army of South Vietnam troops under orders from the capitalistic puppet ruler Diem, that traitor to the people of Vietnam who lives in his opulent mansion on his Mekong River estate outside the occupied capital of Saigon, where orders from the imperialists are broadcast through the puppet's mouth in lies that cost our people dearly in every hamlet overrun by ARVN thugs, machine-gunning women and children, their cries heard worldwide by all peoples of the common bond, begging you, Marines, to abandon your mislead generals. Join us on that day when all men and all women will stand side by side as equals and free peoples commonly joined in the peaceful struggle against the true enemies of mankind, hunger and want. And now, a song from one of your favorite artist, Rufus Thomas. I asked your mama for 15 cents. The scuddy clouds blow clear and the zone lies ahead. Cochrane leads into the straps and turns up the radio. See an elephant to jump the fence. Two-seater American T-28s flash by, rake the zone with machine guns. Their bombs gouge craters in the mud. He jumps so high he touched the sky. Cochrane pushes the nose over and we roar in, rotor head vibrating, wind zinging, Rufus singing, never got back till the 4th of July. Bullets splatter the water as we flare over the rice paddy, walking the dog. I grab the M14. We're pilots, not gunners, Cochrane bellows. Ride the controls. He's walking the dog across the paddy, just a walking the dog. The transmission screams as we hover over the water and the ARVN squad leader jumps out and disappears in 6 feet of water, leaving a bubble and protruding rifle barrel. The crew chief grabs the barrel and hauls the soldier back aboard. Cochrane adds power and noses forward to a clay dike. Kick the bastards out. My ears are attuned to every strange zing and splat. Anything different from the familiar yow and yammer of the chopper. Geysers spout in front of us. Over there, Cochrane shouts, drill the bastard. I riddle the mound with a long burst. The chopper skips and dances. Cochrane turns the bird so the crew chief can cut loose with the M60. The ARVNs blast the bushes. Cochrane raps on throttle and we surge off the dike, flash across the trees and climb out. Eat lead, you butt-ugly mud fuckers. I give the foliage another burst and stick the rifle between the seats. I look at Cochrane and key the intercom. For a peace-loving maverick, you are a mighty bloodthirsty cheerleader back there. I thought we were here to fly, not to fight. That peacenik bullshit is only good to a certain point. Those motherfuckers were shooting at us. Taking a while, Mr. Butt-Ugly-O. My hands are sweating like a bitch. The bird is light and free. My knotted stomach loosens, matching the rotor head vibes. If you don't know how to do it, I'll show you how to walk the dog. All day long, ARVNs are picked up and flown to the zone. We stop at a temporary airstrip and refuel from big black bladders squatting on the ground. We heat sea rats on the hot manifolds and eat while the tanks are topped. Then head back to the zone, which looks like a football stadium parking lot. So much crap has been hauled in, with supply types scurrying and bigwigs arriving, the press shooting pictures and scribbling in notebooks. The Viet Cong tried to surround Father Wong's village, but the Arvins surrounded the Cong instead. Many dead is the report, with the remainder fleeing in sampans. The Arvins are elated. Catching or killing a single VC is memorable, but today's work is worth the visit from the Secretary of Defense. Orbiting overhead, we can see a dozen huts burning. The rest of the ville is still intact. We land and shut down, and Cochran and I follow the crowd to a bare spot on the edge of the village. A short, beaming man wearing green khakis and a steel helmet on top of his round dome steps forward. He bows and smiles. I am Father Wong, and this is my parish. He motions towards the huts. And these are my parishioners. He nods at the villagers. He and 200 Chinese immigrants fled their homeland ahead of the Red Horde, he tells us, and now once again they are beset by the godless communists, determined to wipe them out. By all that's holy, those atheists aren't chasing me any farther. Here I stay. He sticks his staff of God in the ground. On this mud flat I build my church. A grass shack sits on mud bricks. The DM government is all Catholic, so Father Wong gets the backings and the supplies he needs. President Kennedy is Catholic too. The Pope has an ear cocked. The story of Father Wong and his village is picked up by the American press, and before a pilgrim can shake his chalice, Father Wong has his own fort, private army, American cash, a fervent following, and the Father Wong song. Right on cue, the village kids raise their voices. Father Wong and his throng, 200 strong, fight the Cong who are wrong, also wrong, and beat the gong and bang the throng, bong gong, bong gong, and say so long. We are strong, we love Wong, we kill Cong, Cong are gone. Father Wong smiles proudly. Half medieval Jesuit, half warrior fighter, half priest, half counselor, half terrifier, he brandishes the wrath of the Padre's gun in this world and the wrath of the Catholic God in the other. They thought they'd wipe us out. VC burn huts, rape women, steal rice, pigs, chickens, ducks, snakes, go to edge of village and cook meat, drink sacramental wine, have big party, give us the finger. Ha ha, not on my patch. I buy 3 106 millimeter reckless rifles in Saigon and hide them in church, and in reflection of red and orange setting sun, blow them apart and wreck their party with anti-personnel projectiles that blast them into the darkness from which they came. Not that it has deterred the con. They have big reward on my head, but we are stronger all the time. More weapons, better training, and we go into the field and hunt them down. But we aren't totally barbaric. We try to rehabilitate prisoners, teach them catechism, give them chance to join Army of Christ. We nod obsequiously, follow him around the village. Yes, Father Ron. Yes. Doing a grand job, grand job. What the fuck is that? We're face to face with a black, shriveled head, stuck on a pole in the middle of the village square. Its eyes are bugged and protruding, tongue black and swollen, pushing out of cracked, peeling lips. One of the men we rehabilitated. He went back over and was captured again, raiding and looting. Unfortunately, he died in the fighting, burned in the hut he torched. A shame, really. Benzan steps forward. He pulls out a cigarette and jams it between the charred lips. Get a picture of this, he says. Whoa, I'm thinking. Better kill those prints. What if mom, apple pie, and pasteurized vitamin D whole milk ever saw the sons of our evangelical heartland indulging in such gruesome pranks. Ah, what's so atrocious about a man smoking, Ben Sand says. Everyone shuffles their feet. This is over the top, way too far over the top. Pappy Learnt breaks the tension. Mount up, gyrenes. It's time to book on out of here. Book on out of here. Don't you mean boogie on out of here, Ben Sand says. You shavetails don't understand old core talk. It used to be when you went on liberty, you signed out in the book. We don't sign out anymore, but we still book, so haul your asses in on the double. An hour later, silhouetted against a bright colored sunset, we approached the field at Soc Trang, daisy chaining toward the runway in a mad bucking whip, fighting turbulence and rotor wash, the men below watching so they can feed us, purify the water, fire up the showers, and work on the choppers all night so we can get up before the dawn. The next morning, repeat the ball-busting experience all over again. Want another one?
Sure.
Just the answer I wanted.
Twist my arms.
Okay. What time is it, Doc? Can't you get this show moving? Fooling me all the time. Like the time Daddy and I went to visit mi abuela with my little dog Dingo. Up early. Time to go home. Where's Dingo? He had to go out, Nino. I thought it was all right. Dingo, come here, boy. Where are you, Dingo? Daddy is impatient. Tomas, we have to go. We don't have time to look now. Not enough time for Dingo. We never found him, Doc. Time. She run out on Dingo. What does time go, Doc? Stretched so thin. Does it break and then end? We muster in the ready room. Maps, pencils, flight gear, flak vests, and pants are spread across the chairs and benches. Cochrane groans. We're flying again. I was hoping the weather would cancel us out. It's a 3-plane flight to Duck Pho, an isolated outpost at the bottom of a deep river canyon 40 miles from Da Nang. Captain Bemis and his co-pilot, Wee Willie Weems, are leading the flight. Cochrane and I are flying on their wing. Ben Sand and Rob Jacobs are piloting the third bird. Stay tight, maintain strict radio silence, and keep on our toes. By the time Captain Bemis arrives at his plane, Cochrane and Sergeant Sunto and I are fired up and ready to go. Time and tide wait for no man. Tides are timed, you know, right down to the very second. The ebb and flow, the old in and out game, respiration. Captain Bemis starts up, comes on the air for a radio check, and we take off and level at 1,500 feet over the wide, flat, sandy delta, where the river meets the South China Sea. Then we turn inland and follow the river west into the cloud-covered mountains. We follow Captain Bemis around a sharp bend in the river. Ben Sand and Rob Jacobs close on our tail. The leader's running lights flash against a dark storm layer lying close to the river. Looks bad up here, Captain Bemis calls over the radio. My hands inside my flight gloves are moist and cold. It gets darker. I squeeze into the seat pan and concentrate on Captain Bemis. He enters the squall and his lights disappear. I've lost contract. Didn't sign my contract, Captain. I've lost contact, Cochrane says over the air. He lowers the collective, spins around in a tight turn, and dives toward the river. Treetops flash on either side. Cochrane pours on the coals and speeds up. What's your position, Cochrane? Captain Bemis calls over the air. 50 feet over the water, heading back downstream. Number 3, Captain Bemis calls again. State your position. No answer. I lean out the window and peer into the soup. There's no sign of Ben Sand and Rob Jacobs. If you read number 3, we're heading out, Captain Bemis radios. I repeat, if you read, we're heading out. I'm going back. Take another look for them, Cochrane transmits. Negative on that, Captain Bemis answers. Cochrane ignores him. He turns the chopper around and heads upstream. We plow through the rain squall. Smoke ahead, I say, 1 o'clock. We've got them, Cochrane says over the radio. We're going in for a look. I'm coming back, Captain Bemis says. Don't do anything till I get there. Cochran clicks the mic to acknowledge the order, then says, "Fuck that," over the intercom and heads towards the smoke. We go lower and slower, staying just above the treetops. The chopper lies burning in a small clearing. Cochran noses in closer. "There's someone down there lying on the ground," I say. "Is he moving?" "Yeah, he's waving an arm." Cochran continues the turn and straightens out right into the muzzle of an AK-47. Bullets smash the engine and cockpit. The windshield splatters and a round zings past my head. Cochran bottoms the collective and the chopper drops, smoke billowing from the engine. "Tranny's gushing oil," Sunto says. "Pressure's dropping fast," I say. The engine clunks, bangs, clanks. The chopper jolts with every misfire. "Strap it in, Sunto, I'm taking it down," Cochran says. "Where?" I yell. "There's no place to land." "Right there," Cochran says. He drives the chopper into a narrow space between two trees, plows through the treetops, shredding branches and leaves with the rotors. Then, as the blades start to break up, he cuts the engine and lays the chopper on its side with a jolt that throws me against the door. Our right side is open to the sky. "Everyone okay?" Cochran asks. My head is ringing, but no damage done. Sunto says he's all right. Cochran shuts everything down. "Let's get out of here before she blows. Bring your rifle and magazines." The smell of aviation gas fills the cockpit. Cochran goes out his door carrying his Armalite, and I climb over the center console and jump down. Sunto is rummaging around in the belly. "What are you doing, Sunto? We got to skedaddle." "Just grabbing my catch-all." He throws out a duffel. "Get the M60, Cochran says. Sunto lifts it off the carriage and hands me the machine gun with the ammo belt trailing. "Okay, let's go. The other chopper's this way." Cochran carries the duffel and his rifle. I cradle the weapon and follow behind. Sunto loops the ammo belt around his shoulder and with the M60 at the ready brings up the rear. Cochran stops and motions us out of the way. He takes out his pistol and fires a tracer into the gas tank, and the helicopter explodes. Black smoke rises and merges with the clouds. The heat washes over us and we turn our backs and head out, leaving nothing for the VC to salvage. We struggle through the tangled undergrowth and hike along the curve of the mountain until we get to the other chopper. Cochran motions us down, signals for me to go left and Sunto right. We peer through the foliage. Ben Sand and Rob Jacobs' helicopter lies smashed and burning. On the other side of the clearing, 5 VCs stand looking at the smoke rising from our burning chopper. Cochran points to me and Sunto, levels his Armalite, and nods his head. We open up and drop 2 of them, but the other 3 run into the jungle, bullets splattering in their wake. "Shit," Cochran says. "Come on, Huck. Let's see who that is on the ground. Sunto, you cover us." Ben Sand lies in a crumpled heap. Arms and shoulders of his flight suit are burned away. His skin is black and cracked. Inside his flight helmet, his charred face is covered with big blisters. His chest heaves. I lean down. "Ben Sand, can you hear me?" "Rob's dead," he whispered. "Took a bullet in the head. We plowed in before I could grab the stick. The crew chief's gone too." "Come on," Cochran says. "We've got to get out of here." Cochran hoists Ben Sand on his shoulders and shuffles into the jungle. When we are deeper in the foliage, Cochran lays Ben Sand down. "Hate to do this, but we have to get that helmet off." Sunto comes hustling up. "Ah," he says, "that's the shits." A rising gorge rises in my throat, but I slam it back into the hell from which it sprang and slide Ben Sand's helmet off. His hair comes with it. The skin is peeled and raw. They say not to do this, but we've got to cool him down. Cochran pulls out his water bottle and dribbles water over Ben Sand's head and face and across his shoulders and arms and hands. "Okay, let's go." He hoists Ben Sand up and we smash through the jungle. "Can't worry about the noise now. We have to put distance between us and the VC. "They're coming," Sunto says from the rear. "Find a good spot and slow them down," Cochran says. We keep going. Behind us there's a burp of M60 fire. The jungle opens and light streams in. We stumble onto a narrow trail running alongside a hill. A ravine drops sharply to our right and a stream crashes and burbles at the bottom. Sunto comes puffing up. "That won't hold him for long. I'd say we're fast getting into a position what they call untenable, Lieutenant." "How many rounds you got left in that ammo belt?" "About all used up, 100 max." "Here's something that might help," I say. A big tree. 3 foot in diameter, has toppled across the ravine. Its root wad, full of dirt and rock, blocks the trail. The top, thick with branches and leaves, is jammed against the opposite hill. Cochran looks at the tree, back down the path, up at the sky. Not a hell of a lot of daylight left. We've got to find a place to hunker down. We don't have enough ammo to hold them off here, but the tree can still work for us. I get it. As a bridge, not a fort. Any rope in that catch-all, Sunto? Parachute cord. That'll do. Tie the lieutenant to me so he won't fall off. Huck, you slip on back down the trail and keep an eye out for the Charlies. I head back, come to a curve and lean against the hill, rifle at the ready. Check the selector, full auto. Remember, short bursts only. Sweat stings my eyes. I swipe it with the back of my hand. Makes it worse. Fuck this shit. I step around the corner and let loose a burst, then another, until the magazine is empty. That should hold the sons of bitches. I beat it back to the tree. Sunto is halfway across, reaching under the trunk. He's wrapped parachute cord around a limb and under the tree. He ties the ends together, pulls a package out of his flight suit and jams it under the cord. The package has a long hunk of what looks like strings sticking out. He hustles back and jumps off the tree. Okay, let's do it, Cochran says. Sunto gives him a boost and Cochran gets up on the tree with Ben Sam across his shoulders. Lose the M60, he says. You carry the duffel, Huck. Sunto, you bring up the rear with the rifles. Sunto throws the M60 and the belt into the ravine. He gives me a leg up and I crawl into the tree. Not as bad as a tightrope walk, but no stroll across a plank either. I come to Sunto's lash up. It's not a piece of string, it's a fuse. Keep moving, Lieutenant, Sunto says behind me. If that's a fuse, then that package has got to be an explosive charge and not a little one either. I ease around Sunto's lash up and keep going. Behind me, I hear a cigarette lighter click. We're not racing a Kong. We're racing against time, and time is a tightrope. A lift of a foot up and a foot down. A drop of sweat plopping on a tree branch. Cochran makes it to the ground on the other side, and I jump down alongside him. AK rounds shatter the woods, splatter splinters. Then a booming explosion drowns the AKs, obliterates the sound of the wind in the trees, kills the gurgle of the water in the stream, and leaves our ears ringing. Sunto slams into the dirt next to me, and we fall to the ground and cover Ben San with our bodies. The top of the tree angles up. Its mangled bottom tips downward, and the Leviathan hurtles in a growling, spitting, headlong rush down the steep ravine. Limbs and branches scrape our backs and shred our flight suits. Rocks, dirt, and underbrush cascade madly along with the tree to a spectacular, resounding kerplash in the water below, where the massive giant smashes into its blown apart other half that careen just as crazily down the equally steep opposite hill. Trunk, limbs, root wad and all, the tree's top and bottom abruptly mangled together, their conjoined ends rudely stopping the stream in its madly scampering tracks. The stream swirls and muddies below the newly created dam. On the other side of the ravine, a big gap is carved out of the hill and the trail is obliterated. No VC in sight. A bird shrieks. Our watches tick. The hands spin. And time, that was stretched like a tightrope, loosens. Our yammering hearts sledgehammer against our rib cage. They are now still. Our ragged, shallow breathing is now calm. So let's take advantage of this moment of calm in South Vietnam in 1962 and jump in the time capsule and return to present day Corte Madera, taking time to pause for a deep breath. Time travel can wear a person out. Thank you. Thanks so much. That was, as always, a great pleasure and very nice to have you here. And this book that I first wrote in 1962 when I was over there in the Marine Corps Helicopter Squadron, and then put aside for 45 years and then finally got it out, is really a great, wonderful thing for me at my age. you know, I am the oldest rookie ever to go into the major league publishing industry. Even older than Satchel Paige. He was only 59 when he broke in with the Cleveland Indians, 1948.